Mr. Chairman.
Ready. We're ready whenever you are, Mr. Lindy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For Triumph TV, we're about to begin. Thank you for being here, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City, Thursday, November 9th, 2023 docket. We have a whole host of matters to be held today. Mr. Chair, do you have any opening remarks?
No, good morning. We do have a long docket, so appreciate everyone's patience, and let's try to move through it, okay?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Calling case number 1. Contract purchaser trading as no trade name, 508 Washington Boulevard is where the premises is located. It's a Class D beer and light wine license, and this is a request for a 180-day hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis Article 12-2202.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, Commissioner. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant and the contract purchaser, Brett Fuller. I'm sorry, in this case, Rajiv Courage. Mr. Courage is unable to be here today. We're talking about the bullpen right between Sliders and Pickles. Unfortunately, the prior owner went into bankruptcy. That license was purchased from the bankruptcy estate by the landlord of the property. And the good news is we already have identified a buyer. So we will ask for 180 days, but we hope to file a transfer application shortly because everybody knows you got to be open by opening day. So we want to make sure.
We're thinking about opening day already.
Already, so spring eternal, and this time maybe there's a basis in reality for it. So we are asking for the 180 days from the dates.
Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the letter from Mr. Fogelman to the Board of October 6, 2023, and his proffer this morning, I'd vote to approve a 180-day hardship extension for this Class D license.
Yes, based on the materials, letter, and proffer from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for hardship extension of 180 days.
Based on the letter by counsel and proffer made today, I also vote to approve this 180-day hardship request for this Class D beer and light wine license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 2 is secured creditor trading as no trade name. Premises are located at 737 Carroll Street, and this is a request for a 180-day hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis Article 12-2202 of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you again, Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the secured creditor, Brent Fuller. Mr. Fuller's asking for, as well, a 180-day hardship extension at 737 Carroll Street. Mr. Fuller is the landlord at the property, the owner, and he had tenants who weren't able to make it. They sold alcohol until May 15th. Nevertheless, the owner of the building has now identified a new tenant, and that tenant is doing a food-centric operation. And so he, in fact, applied, I think, Tuesday for a Class B license at this location. So Mr. Fuller's intentions and hopes are that the board, through the process we work when we have 2 licenses or a license request and an existing license at the same location, is that he will be able to sell this BD7 for transfer in the 40th district. But in order to do that, we would need that 180
So if the new
days.
tenant gets a license, they'll move in and he'll sell the prior license.
Yes, and so quite frankly, maybe it's a backup, just although Class B restaurant licenses are routinely granted, but if for some reason they didn't make the qualifications, he wants to be able to continue to have a liquor license at the premises.
Okay,
I
Commissioners
think
have any questions?
No questions.
Questions?
All right, thank you. Again, Mr. Fogelman, on the basis of your letter of October 3 to the board and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 180-day hardship extension for this BD7 license.
Yes, based on the material and letter and proffer from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for hardship extension of the BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license of 180 days.
Based on your October 3rd letter and your proffer today, I also vote to approve this hardship extension for 180 days for this Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Fogelman.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Item number 3 on today's docket. 1613 Grocery LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 1209 West North Avenue, and this is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis Article 12-1705B for a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of 1613 Grocery LLC, on behalf of Mr. Ofori as well, who couldn't be with us this morning.
And what's going on with this one, Mr. Hurdle?
There is some sort of weird issue with the seller's sales tax. I have talked and been in discussion with their attorney. a couple of times to get the letter over to Ms. Richards. That, I believe at the moment, is the only holdup. A use permit's been issued, I have the trader's license, I got it myself. So everything is ready to go with the exception of kind of a little bit of a wonky hold. They're just trying to get some clarity for the previous operator.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
All right, Ms. Hurdle, on the basis of your letter then of October 19 to the board requesting the extension and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Yes, based on materials, letter, and proffer from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of 90 days of the A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Based on your letter of October 19th and your proffer made today, I also vote to approve this request for a transfer hardship extension of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ms. Hurdle.
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Item number 4 on the regular items, the Urban Oyster LLC, trading as the Urban Oyster. Premises are located at 916 West 36th Street. Holders of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, and this is a request for a 90-day transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis Article 12-1705B. And please note that I believe Commissioner Templeton intends to recuse himself from this case, for
That's
the
right.
record.
Okay, so the other two of us will hear the case. Go ahead.
All right, Commissioner Templeton has good taste, obviously, it's good food. Anyway, Ms. Norton was approved by this board, as you know, on March 3rd. You know, you're going to hear about COVID until we're all very old, and because it's still what I call a post-COVID hangover, and that is what happens here. We continue to have labor shortages. I know you're intimately familiar with the fact that after COVID, the liquor point's been busy. People have been buying and selling. Your dockets are longer than ever. And what happens there is there's only a finite number of contractors in town, and those contractors are busy. And what used to take a week for an electrician to take care of you now takes 6 to 8 weeks. So that's kind of what's happened here with Miss Norton. She is under extensive delays, and she certainly can use the 90 days that we're requesting. Thank you.
Mr. Fogelman, Commissioner Reisinger and I are already very old.
No.
Do you have any questions? Any questions?
No question.
All right, thank you. All right, on the basis of your letter, Mr. Fogelman, of October 3, and your proffer this morning, vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Yes, based on materials, letter, and proffer from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for a transfer hardship extension of a B beer, wine, and liquor license for 90 days.
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Item number 5 on the regular docket, Steel Horse 349 LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 349 to 51 South Calhoun Street. Holders of a Class D beer and light wine license, and this is a request for a transfer hardship extension of 90 days under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages and Cannabis Article 12-1705B.
Abraham Hurdle, on behalf of Steel Horse 349. Ms. Mahan and Mr. Mahan were trying to be here today, were unable to be. I guess Ms. Mahan's sister is in the hospital, and she wanted to. The liquor board's important. I wasn't sure it was more important than that.
I think if my sister were in the hospital, I might be there.
I spoke to Ms. Mahan about what the delays were. She has assisted and worked in this bar for probably about 15 or 20 years, back when it used to have a lot of problems. Recently, it has had none. One of the issues was some confusion she purchased both the property and the business, and she got the trade name, the trader's license in the wrong entity, which has caused some delays. She's not a big fan of the trader's office, apparently, as of the moment. We are working on everything. We should have it done in the next couple of weeks and go from there.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No question.
No questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hurdle. On the basis of your letter to the board of October 19 and your proffer this morning, I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension for this Class D license.
Yes, based on the materials and letter and proffer from the attorney, I also vote to approve the request for transfer hardship extension of DB beer and light wine location of 90 days.
Based on your proffer today and your letter of October 19th, I also vote to approve this 90-day transfer hardship extension of this Class D beer and light wine license.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Hurdle.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall we move on to violations,
Yes,
Mr. Chair?
please.
Moving on to violations. First matter for the board, 627 Duncan Restaurant LLC, trading as Janae's 2. Premises are located at 625 to 27 North Duncan Street, holders of a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license, and are charged with 2 violations of the board's rules, and that is a violation of Rule 4.05A, prohibitive hours, and violation of Rule 4.07E, open containers and illegal possession and consumption of alcoholic beverages, both of which occurred on September the 8th, 2023.
Is this your case, Mr. Previs?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Peter Previs on behalf of licensee Rodney Brown. Come on up, Mr. Brown.
It's going to be admission or denial?
It's going to be an admission as to the staying open after 10. It's going to be a denial as to the being responsible for people outside. And it's also going to be an argument that there is a substantial equal protection and substantive due process problem with allowing the block to have, to extend their 10 o'clock closing from 10 to 2 if they have a security plan, but having no such exemption in place for this area near Hopkins Hospital.
Okay.
I
Is your
also-
client going to testify?
He is, but Your Honor, I have another client here, the Thunderbird, that has the same argument.
Well, can we make the argument in this case and adopt the argument in the second one?
Yeah, I just wanted to make you aware of it.
I don't need to hear it twice.
Right.
Okay, everybody who's going to testify, raise your right hands, please.
Swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth.
Okay, so with respect to our board staff, we're going to go with Rule 4.07E, open containers and illegal possession, on September 8th. Who would testify? Come up and identify yourself, please.
Inspector Jordan.
Good morning, Inspector. Tell us what happened on September 8th, please, at this location.
Sorry, I need your first name for the record.
Rosalba.
Thank you.
On September 8th, at approximately 10:25, we were monitoring the area and performing inspections. I, Inspector Todd Hope, and Vice went by this location, 625 Duncan Street, and observed it to be open. I have pictures of all the customers inside, playing pool, drinking. The door was wide open. There was patrons outside, immediately outside, and there was patrons across the street consuming alcohol.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the inspector?
The persons consuming alcohol outside, you didn't observe them taking the alcohol from this establishment to the outside?
No, I didn't.
Okay, thank you, then I have no further questions.
Okay. Do you have anything to add?
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
Yeah, I have one. To the inspector, outside, was that within the 200-foot rule? of the
Yes, it was
establishment?
within the 200.
Any follow-up?
Thank you. Were people sitting on their stoops? Where were they?
There was actually a picnic chair stationed right outside of the door, a chair that somebody had brought, and there was just people mingling outside.
Okay, and you don't have any further evidence that that was somehow related to the bar?
No, it just observed that it was right outside the bar and they were drinking alcohol.
But there's residences all up and down that street. Right?
There's a big market across the street that was closed, and there isn't that many homes in that area.
Okay,
There's a big parking lot and a big market.
thank you.
Do you want to make your argument before disposition or afterwards?
With regard to the
To either.
equal
Well,
protection?
yeah.
Well, actually, I want Mr. Brown to touch.
Oh, go ahead. All right, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to oversee. He actually got out of my vision. I'm sorry, Mr. Brown.
Sorry, I just-
Can you push this microphone down to him?
Sure. You
Just
okay?
make yourself comfortable, sir. Go ahead, ask him.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, you're the licensee of this establishment?
Yes, sir.
And you recently had a stroke, is that what happened?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And were you present on the evening that this occurred?
No, my barmaid called me. I wasn't there.
Okay. And did you come down after the incident?
Came down and yes, I
occurred?
did.
Okay, and can you tell us about what happened with regard to people milling around outside?
Well, that's something they do out there every day. It's 2 cut rates on each end. So people do go around the corner, purchase alcohol, come outside. If the weather's nice, they do sit outside every day around there. It has nothing to do with the bar, though, because everything inside the bar, we have a doorman. So we don't let nobody take anything in or take anything outside or bring anything inside.
Okay.
So anything they drink inside, they drink inside and stay inside with it.
You absolutely do not allow people to
No,
take
sir.
drinks outside?
Nobody take anything outside, and I don't sell carry out.
Is your barmaid here today?
No, sir.
Okay.
She's not. She's at
But
work.
Okay. But you're adamant that you do not allow that to happen?
Adamant. We've
Did you-
never had
Do you
carry
have
out.
security cameras?
Yes, sir.
Did you view the cameras?
Yes, sir.
And did you see anybody going out?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And we also, like I said, have a doorman, so we make sure nobody don't take anything out or bring anything in. Because of those 2 cut rates on each end, we make sure people don't bring liquor inside or
Right.
bottles and stuff.
Okay, did you want to ask him anything?
No, I don't have any questions, but I'd like to add something that.
Go ahead.
I have a picture here that there was no doorman. And this is the chair that, I guess to bring your own chair and hang out. This is a chair.
Yes, that's a personal shit.
Okay. Do you want us to receive that in evidence? Okay.
No, Jake.
Any questions about the picture? Okay, do you want to make your argument then?
Okay, factually, with regard to the allowing patrons to drink outside, Mr. Brown has testified credibly that he does not allow that, and that there are 2 cut rates on each corner, and that people are drinking outside, and that has nothing to do with him, that he runs a tight ship with regard to people drinking outside. With regard to the remaining open after 10 o'clock, recently, these laws where they're picking out, the legislature's picking out certain neighborhoods and requiring them to close at 10 o'clock, resulted most recently in the enactment of alcoholic beverages and cannabis Article 12-2009, that's applicable to Class A licenses, Class BD7 licenses, and any adult entertainment licenses within the area, basically, of the block, Holiday, East Fayette, North Gay, to Baltimore Street. As a result of a lot of lobbying and Fox 45 coverage and meetings, there was an exemption put into 12-2009, which is D1. And basically, I'll paraphrase, I have a copy of the statute here.
The statute speaks for itself.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay. It basically indicates that if a security plan is put in place that's approved by the police department and the liquor board, that places do not have to close at 10, that they are authorized to remain open until 2 a.m. Now, you have these other locations, this area, we have the Thunderbird and Genays. There's another case, I believe, Benelux Street and the 40th, where they are just arbitrarily required to close at 10 o'clock. Now, those statutes went into effect prior to the block statute that made the amendment for allowing the security plan. So since the city or the state legislature has allowed that in one location, it is irrational, arbitrary, and capricious, and a violation of equal protection not to provide that same, to afford that same ability to have security and comply with whatever the block has to comply with and be allowed to remain up until 2.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No question.
No questions.
All right.
Mr.
thank-
Chair, can I note one thing just for the record?
Yeah.
Does 12-2009 apply to Class D licenses?
It does not. There are no D licenses on the block. There are a couple liquor stores. There is a BV7, which is Midway, that does not have an adult entertainment. All of the other adult entertainment establishments have a liquor license, and they have a BV7. But this case is a D license, the other case is a BV7, but the same logic applies. It's just irrational how we can have a city where you're paying the same amount for your BV7 license or your D license, and you have to close at 10 and you have to close at 2, and this neighborhood has to leave their neighborhood and go down to Fells Point or Federal Hill and all the stuff that's going on now. So
Okay.
it's just irrational.
All right. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the admission from counsel as to the 4.05 violation and the testimony received, as well as the argument heard this morning, I find a violation of Rule 4.05, small a, prohibited hours on September 8, 2023. I also find a violation of Rule 4.07, small e, open containers, on September 8, 2023. And just for the record, it seems to me that if they do have somebody at the door, they wouldn't have neighbors putting their chairs right next to the door. They'd at least move them away if they're just showing up there. So I don't find it credible on the issue that these don't come from the bar. As to the constitutional argument, I don't think this commission is authorized to overrule acts of the Maryland legislature, but the courts certainly are. And whether you have a standing issue on this case or not, I don't know, but that's your problem. But you're certainly entitled to take that up to the courts and see how far that takes you.
I didn't bring the cases, Your Honor, but there are two cases that say that a zoning board is, not only does it have the power, but is obligated to consider the constitutional arguments.
A zoning board.
Same thing, administrative agency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, actually. Anyway, I'm not inclined to do it, but so I'm going to defer to the courts on that issue. So with respect, now the record here is we've got 2021 violations, 20 violations, and 20 violations. They only had the license since 2019. So I'd impose $500 fines as to each of the violations and give them 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Yes. Based on the materials and profit from the attorney filed today, I agree with the chair's findings of violation of Rule 4.05A, prohibited hours on September the 8th, 2023, with a fine of $500. Also, violation of Rule 4.07E, open containers and illegal possession and consumption of alcoholic beverages on September the 8th, 2023, also with a fine of $500.
Based on the charging documents and the admission made on 4.05A, testimony given today and the proffer made by counsel, I too find a violation of the admission of 4.05A, prohibited hours on September 8th, 2023. I'm willing a $500 fine, 30 days to pay on that one. And on the 4.07E, I do appreciate your arguments, but I do agree with our chair on that one and implement a $500 fine and 30 days to pay.
Ms. Russell?
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Jordan. Board Exhibit 2, photo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council is going to be receiving instructions on how to pay the fines imposed by the board and any fees that are attendant to that. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 2 on the violations docket, Callie's Court LLC, trading as Callie's Court. Premises are located at 1602-08 Thames Street. Holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and are charged with 2 violations of the board's rules stemming from the same incident on September the 30th, 2023. That is a violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare and of a violation of Rule 4.16 Illegal Conduct.
Mr. Chairman, could we move this hearing back a little bit so I can have an opportunity to?
This one? Yes, sure. This is your case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's, how much time do you need? Call one more case and bring it back, or?
Yeah.
Okay, let's skip this and come back to.
This matter will be continued to a later point in the docket. Then moving forward, Mr. Chair.
Please.
Calling item number 3 on the violations docket, United Penn Operating LLC, trading as Wonderland Liquors. Premises are located at 2043-45 Pennsylvania Avenue. Holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and are charged with 2 violations of the board's rules stemming from the same date on September the 26th, 2023. And that is a violation of Rule 4.20C, prohibited activities by license class type, Class BD7 licenses, open and operating tavern at all times, and a violation of Rule 3.09A, restroom facilities and health regulations.
Admission or denial, Mr. Hurdle?
I can read the room. Admission.
Okay. Both, admission on both?
Yes, we do have mitigating circumstances, but absolutely.
So you're going to testify on those?
I think I can proffer.
All right, let's go.
Sorry, Abraham Hurdle on behalf of United Penn Operating. I do have some photos since that time, and I did speak to the client in regards to the reason that the back area was allegedly closed and why there were bathroom issues. It's my understanding, and this I think is going to be something that comes up often today, is that when deliveries come in, these bars have kind of a couple different areas. You can't move all the deliveries that come in volume into the front area. You have to put it in the tavern space. So what happens is that area tends to get built up really quick with dozens of cases of beer, cases of alcohol, cases of wine. And then you got to break them down, put them somewhere, get that all done. Typically, this is done with a short staff, and ultimately what happens is, whether people are happy about it or not, and the clients need to work on this, is the boxes are discarded kind of willy-nilly in the tavern area, which makes it look as if they're not used and occupied ever. I do have those pictures. This is the 3-bay sink, the bar, and the bathroom all cleared.
Could you
This
show
is-
them to the inspector?
This is not the condition that it was in that day, and I won't represent that. But this is how it is today and how it is normally. It is my understanding that that day there was significant detritus and trash and things of that nature. But again, it was just a temporary situation. And I would say that this happens a lot of places with some frequency, and it isn't because the tavern is closed, it's more just because you got to put this stuff somewhere, you got to break it down, and there's a lot of boxes that end up being discarded as a result of that. The bathrooms are always available to patrons. Patrons are always able to drink at the bar. On this occasion, there were boxes in front of the bathrooms, not that they wouldn't have been moved if someone had asked to use them. I think that there was an indication that an employee said that the tavern was closed, and it was more than just that they're always open and that there was trash in the back. This is the first time they've been here. They've done a lot to make this place a better operator. I think the inspectors would indicate that they've been there a couple times and that they try to do a good job.
Let me swear Inspector Tudhope.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Inspector Jordan's already under oath, so I'm just, can you corroborate what he's saying about this place?
This is the first time I've ever been to that bar, so I don't know if
Has
Inspector
Inspector Jordan been there?
previous-
Myself, I haven't either.
Okay.
But it was very untidy. The gentleman did state that it was not open and operating, but he could have it open and operating by the next day. There was no bar chairs. The sink was empty. It wasn't in use at that time.
Have you been back?
I have not, no.
You?
I haven't, but by looking at the pictures, it's a major improvement.
Okay. You didn't get any resistance from them?
No, they were very cooperative.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
I have no questions.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Hurdle?
I would just ask that the inspectors don't go to my office where my Amazon boxes are. There's a pile, unfortunately, in the corner.
It's a worry, okay. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, including the admissions and the testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 4.20 small c, prohibited activities on September 26, 2023, and a violation of Rule 3.09 small a, restroom facilities and health regulations on September 26, 2023. There's no history of violations, so being the first time, I'd impose a $250 fine as to each and give them 30 days to pay. Commissioner?
Yes, based on materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings, violation of Rule 4.20C, prohibit activities by license type, Class BD7 license, open and operating tavern at all times, September 26, 2023, and a fine of $250. Also, a violation of Rule 3.09A, restroom facilities and health regulations on September 26, 2023, also with a fine of $250.
Based on the charging documents, submission made by counsel, the proffer made by counsel, and testimony given, also, I do also find a violation of Rule 4.20 small c, prohibited activities on September 26, 2023, and a violation of Rule 3.09A, restroom facilities and health regulations, impose a $250 fine for both, 30 days of pay.
Ms. Russell?
Michael Elizabeth for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report dated 9/26/23. Board Exhibit number 2, photo 6 in total.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioners.
That concludes this matter before the board.
Mr. Hurdle, we want to see if Mr. Priebus is ready. Is he in the back?
I have number 6 as well.
Okay.
I think Mr. Priebus might be the counsel on number 4 as well. I should move forward then? Oh, wait.
You ready? Huh?
Mis-
He's coming in.
It's
Okay.
ready now.
Moving back to number 2 then?
Yes, please.
Okay. Recalling item number 2 on the violations docket, Cali's Court LLC, trading as Cali's Court, 1602 to 08 Thames Street, Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, charged with 2 violations of the board rules stemming from the same date on September 30th, 2023. That is Rule 3.12, General Welfare, and a violation of Rule 4.16, Illegal Conduct.
Admissions or?
Guilty with an explanation.
Okay, as deeds, all right. All right, you want to identify yourself for the record?
Peter Previs on behalf of the licensee Karen Patton. To my right is Mr. Vasilius Karamidis, the owner and operational person that was in charge.
And who's to your left here?
This is Mr. Lawson, Ted Lawson.
And he's counsel also?
Not really.
Not technically anymore, but he taught me a lot when I
Okay.
was wet behind the ears, but he's part of the business.
Okay.
He's
And Inspector, you want to raise your hand and be sworn?
I swear or affirm on the penalties of perjury that the testimony about to give will be the truth.
Yes.
So, okay, go ahead, Mr. Previs.
Thank you. There's basically 2 violations. The first being a, I don't know which one applies to which, but there's
312 is the noise complaint.
Huh?
312 is the noise complaint. 416
noise.
is.
So there
bar.
was a DJ on the inside of the establishment. If you, I don't know if all of you are familiar with Cali's Court, but you have a courtyard, thus the name. So it's a brick patio with brick walls, and then on the outside of that, on Thames Street, is a sidewalk, and they do have a permit for outdoor table service for the tables that are on the outside of the patio. And then for the tables that are on the inside of the patio, especially since the change in the zoning law of 2017, are included in the use of restaurant and are not considered outdoor table service. Had that technical argument with prior administration, but to get to this violation, there is a DJ on the inside, and then on the inside of the courtyard, there are the big glass bay windows that open up when the weather's warm. And the DJ is on the inside, and the music is going through the open windows, and thus the violation. When the inspectors got there, that they closed the windows and turned the music down. It is now cold, and those windows will remain closed at least.
That's just going to be almost 80 today.
I know, but
But this weather is
Yeah.
very strange.
So that's what happened with regard to that incident. With regard to the outside bar, I have to go back a little bit historically. In 2019, there was a similar violation, and what had occurred as we went to zoning, and we got approval at zoning, and the city, the permits for this location that show the last entry, BMZ 2017, use adding an outdoor bar to existing restaurant tavern that includes live entertainment and dancing, outdoor table service, 1606 Thames Street, issue date 2/14/17. So it appears that what happened is that they went to zoning, they got approval with BMZA, but then, no, somebody didn't, I didn't do this one. Somebody didn't follow through and pick up the use and occupancy permit.
Right.
If the use and occupancy were picked up, then that would be, the zoning resolution will be submitted to the liquor board and request that the language on the license be changed so that it.
But it never
still-
happened.
It didn't happen.
Right.
And then COVID happened, and then everything was shut down, and then you had the COVID outside stuff, and it just slipped through the cracks once COVID happened, so.
Okay.
It needs to be cleaned up.
Inspector, any problems with them otherwise?
No.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions. Are you working on cleaning it up, or is someone else going to do that?
Am I working on cleaning it up, Mr. Lawson?
We're going to start.
You're going to start, okay.
I do have one thing.
Yes, go ahead.
When we come in,
Please go to
State
the
your name for
mic.
the record, please.
Inspector Regina Brown, when we come in, we wait in 20 and 30 minutes for them to produce their licenses.
So you would like them
I
to be
would like
more
for them to
responsive?
display them on the wall.
Have it.
So we can come in and just look.
Absolutely.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. All right, thank you then. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, including the admissions and the testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 4.3 violation of Rule 3.12, General Welfare, on September 30, 2023, and a violation of Rule 4.16, Illegal Conduct, on September 30, 2023. They've had violations. It's been 3 years since they did, but they've only had the license, well, they've had it a long time, actually, 15 or more years. So it's not a terrible record, but it's not a great record. I would impose $350 fines as to each violation and give them 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on materials and proffered from the attorney, I also vote and agree with the chair's findings of violation of Rule 3.12, General Welfare on September 30th, 2023, and a fine of $350. Also, the violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct on September 30th, 2023, and a fine of $350.
Based on the charging documents, the admission to these two violations, a testimony that's been given, and the proffer made by counsel, I too agree that there's been a violation of Rule 3.12, General Welfare, on September 30th, 2023, and a violation of Rule 4.16 on September 30th, 2023, impose a nominal $350 fine on each with 30 days to pay.
Ms. Russell?
I call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Brown. Exhibit number 2, service request summary dated 9/24/23. 3, service request summary dated 9/27/23. 4, service request summary dated 9/30/2023. And 5, service request summary dated 9/28/23.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to pay the fines imposed by the board and any attendant fees that go along with that. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
I think we're on item number 4. Yes, item number 4 on the violations docket. 3K Partners LLC, trading as Rosie's Sport Bar. Premises is located at 482 South Bentonloo Street. Holder of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license is charged with 2 violations of the board's rules stemming from an incident on September the 22nd, 2023, which is a violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibitive hours, and a violation of Rule 4.07A, open containers and illegal possession and consumption of alcoholic beverages.
Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of Miss Latasha Burgess, who current licensee Kathy M. Williams has given permission to speak on her behalf today. If that could go to the
Are they
file.
going to be admissions or denials?
They're going to be admissions, okay? Because like Mr. Hurdle said, part of our job is reading the room. So,
All right,
thank
well,
you.
Let's have Ms. Burgess and I think everybody here is Ms. Sworn, except Agent Perez, so if you'll raise your right hand.
You swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Fogelman.
Yes, thank you. First, I do want to address Mr. Previs's equal protection arguments, which I think were meritorious, only by saying in this matter that there is something unusual about where a license, an establishment that's been there for almost 90 years, for 85 years, closed at 2 a.m. And the bars in my neighborhood for 90 years have closed at 2 a.m. And different sides of town, same BD7 licenses. So it's
Maybe they need to hire better lobbyists.
perhaps so. So that said, this was a learning experience. Ms. Burgess here is a new operator. She's finishing up her transfer. She, at some point, was told about the new law, but didn't fully understand it. 10 p.m. doesn't mean last call. 10 p.m. doesn't mean everybody hurry up and finish up your drinks. 10 p.m. means everybody out, doors locked, unless you're the cleaning staff, that kind of thing. So it's a learning experience. It won't happen again. That said, and it is. The city is not the easiest city in the world to do business in. Maybe multiple jurisdictions are like this, but the fire department, the fire marshal says, oh yeah, you can do that. The health department says you can do that or you can't do that. There's a lot of people giving you direction that if you are a new business owner, you take what they say and
You will instruct Ms. Burgess.
indeed. And whether it's going to zoning.
Liquor license, ask us.
Exactly.
Don't ask the fire marshal. Okay.
So I really chalk this up as a learning experience, and she's modified the behavior since September 22nd.
Have they been cooperative?
Yes.
Okay. All right, commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
I have no question.
All right, thank you, Mr. Fogelman. Everybody, on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, proffer from council, including the admissions, I find a violation of Rule 4.05, small b, prohibited hours on September 22, 2023, and a violation of Rule 4.07A, open containers and illegal possession, consumption of alcoholic beverages on September 22, 2023. There's one prior violation that was 3 years ago. I'd impose a $300 fine as to each violation and give 30 days to pay.
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on materials and proffer from the attorney, I also agree with the sheriff's findings. A violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours on September 22nd, 2023, and a fine of $300. Also, a violation of Rule 4.07A, open containers and illegal possession and consumption of alcoholic beverages on September 22nd, 2023, also with a fine of $300.
Based on the charging documents properly made by council and admission that was made, I too find that there was a violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours on September 22nd, 2023, and a violation of Rule 4.07A, open containers and illegal possession and consumption of alcoholic beverages on September 22nd, 2023. Pose a $300 fine on each with 30 days to pay. Thank you, council.
Ms. Russell?
Exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, violation report dated 9/22/23. Number 2, service request summary dated 9/22/23. 3, service request summary dated 9/22/23. 4, service request summary dated 9/22/23. And 5, letter of permission from licensee.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's received instructions on how to pay the fines imposed by the board this morning, along with any attendant fees that must go along with that. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Item number 5 on the violations docket, Uprady LLC, trading as The Point. Premises are located at 525 to 29 East Patapsco Avenue. Holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, charged with several violations of the board's rules stemming from an incident on September the 21st, 2023. To wit, those are a violation of Rule 4.18A, alterations, violation of Rule 3.03C, records for employee records, violation of Rule 4.20C, prohibited activities by license class type, Class BD7s, open and operating tavern at all times, specifically under little I, 4A, stating, although a new separate packaged goods area may not be constructed, a BD7 licensee who was operated under a previously approved separate packaged goods store may continue operations, the allegation being there was not a grandfathered packaged goods operation, and a violation of Rule 3.01, ownership and operation. All are September 21st, 2023, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Fogelman, you want to identify yourself for the record?
Yes, thank you again, Your Honor. Stephen and Commissioner Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the licensee Srijana Kanal,
Is that who's to your right?
who is to my right. Thank
Good
you.
morning. All those who want to testify in this case, please raise your right hands.
You swear or affirm
Right
on
here.
the penalty of perjury that the testimony about to give will be the truth? Thank you.
Okay, when you testify, please come forward to this and identify yourself before you speak, okay? Are these admissions or denials?
This is a little bit of a hybrid. We are going to, and I'm looking for my syllabus here. We are going to admit to 4.18A, 303.C, denials to the rest.
Okay, so we're talking about the prohibited activities, open and operating tavern at all times, and the ownership and operation, right?
Yes, thank you.
You want to, who's going to testify for us? Inspector?
I'll need both Inspector Tudhope and Agent Hill, right?
You haven't
I'm sorry.
sworn yet. Oh, you just were a second ago. Okay, all right. Well, who's going to give the
You want
testimony?
to go first? Yeah.
Please identify yourself.
Agent Terry Chase.
You want to tell us about September 21?
So my initial investigation was done on February the 23rd of 2023. I was prompted to go out to see if they were doing construction, and the place was a complete shell, and they were closed, and I didn't see any like permits on the window or anything.
Okay. And what about September 21?
So,
So I see you're tag teaming. All right.
yes. On September 20th, BLC received a 311 complaint for the establishment. I called the complainant back, and she stated that there was construction that had taken place. I informed her that it was too late for me to get to the file in the office, that I would follow up the next day. The next day, I went into the office, I pulled the establishment's file of their floor plan, and me and Inspector Jordan proceeded to the establishment. Upon getting to the establishment, we looked at the floor plan and what was in front of us, and they clearly didn't match up. I asked to speak to the manager. Both employees stated that they did not work there, that they were just helping out. I asked who was in charge. Both of them refused to give me their IDs because I asked for employee records. They said yet again that they did not work there. They got Mr. Uppity, I believe how to say it. I'm sorry if it's wrong.
It's a great name, like Dickens.
On the phone, and he stated that he was the one that was the operator and the manager of the place. I asked him who was in charge. He said the guy whose phone he had given me was the manager. That gentleman refused that he was the manager. Mr. Uppity said he was on his way to the establishment. I informed him that he would be receiving some violations, and we left without further incident.
Okay, do you have questions for the inspector?
I do. And first, if I may inquire of Agent Chase.
Sure.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, so you showed up in February, and you noted in your report that looked like maybe some renovations were going on.
Yes, it was nothing in there. It was completely
Right.
shelled out. It just had the shelves or the walls from the previous, whoever was there previous.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Questions for
Thank you.
the other inspector?
And Inspector Todd Hope, you were there on September 20th or 21st?
21st.
Okay.
We received the complaint on the 20th.
Right. Okay, and, well, that's not a question. I have no idea what was going on with those two employees. But anyway, the thing that I'm here to ask you about is, you were not aware that there was a permit pulled to do some work on this on March 10th?
I did not see anything in our file.
Okay,
No.
all right. You are, however, aware of the diagram that was submitted to the Liquor Board with the applicant's transfer application on or about February 4th, 2021.
I did see that,
Okay.
yes.
And this is it, right? Yeah, I got 5 copies.
Sorry. I thought you,
Sure. This is what was in the file. This is what's in your evidence packet.
yes.
Yeah.
That
okay.
is,
So I'm going to submit, although you may already have it in your file because it's part of the inspector's packet. So I won't submit it. Yep, you do have it. All right, so that is what was submitted on February 4th, 2021. And you met up with this gentleman behind the cash register, right? He said, I don't work here. Okay, even though he's behind the cash register, he says, I don't work. Then you asked him to contact.
whoever was in
Right,
charge.
right, the boss. And so he got on his phone, and then he probably spoke in Nepali to someone on the phone. And then he handed the phone to you and said, it's the boss. Yeah. the
Correct.
boss. And then your testimony is that the licensee's husband, Vinod Uppity, was on the other end of that line.
Correct.
Okay. And do you remember if he told you he was coming out of the bank and he was in his car?
I believe he said he was on the highway driving.
Yeah, okay. So do you know that he's the owner of the real estate of the building?
I do not. I just asked to speak to whoever was in charge.
Okay. And so you say in your report that he said he was the owner?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you decide to continue an investigation on a 3.01 charge? Didn't you want to gather any evidence before you made a charge like that?
I just write the violations.
I charge the violations for the record.
Okay. No, but I guess what I'm saying about you is, did you say, sir, I want to make sure you hear what I'm saying. Are you the
licensee? Are you the owner? Are you the manager of the bar?
He stated he was the owner and the one that was the one that ran it.
Okay, and because his name isn't on the license or the application as pulled for your investigation, wouldn't it have been prudent to have contacted the named licensees?
I don't want to stop, hold you, Mr. Fogel, but when our inspectors walk into a licensed premise and they ask to see who's in charge, and they're told that you can't see our IDs and we don't know and we don't work here, end of story.
Well, all right, as far as the other violations.
I don't know how the other commissioners feel, but I'm not listening to the rest of it.
All right,
I agree.
I have no further questions of you, and thank you, Inspector Tudhope.
Okay. Anything else?
From me, yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, okay. With respect to the 4.18, with respect to the modifications, the applicant, Ms. Canal, filed the application on February 4th of 2021. She prepared the diagram a few weeks before that, in January 21. She didn't pick up the liquor license until December 21 or early 22, and that was because she had asked for an additional 90-day hardship to get the place open. She also experienced these COVID delays of not being able to get contractors or drywall to get any work done. She will testify, and I'm sorry, because I mean, she will testify if you want to hear from her, that substantially compliant. The document she submitted 2 years prior to being done all work was substantially the same, with 2 exceptions. And that was, for her safety and employee safety, she put up a glass wall. And that there was a wall, but with a door to access the bar area. So it was quite frankly, an honest mistake, because this was over 2.5 years, or 2.5 years from the time that she drew this drawing to the time that she finished the work. The bar, everything else is there that's in this diagram, except now there's glass where it says carry out liquor. And there's a little more drywall separating the bar area from the packaged goods area, but there's a door that's wide open to go between both places.
Well, has she extended the packaged good area?
No, I mean, that's not, I mean, we can get back and forth on it, but her testimony will be that everything is the same, except the glass is really the biggest change. And I mean, you can ask the inspectors if they don't disagree.
I actually have pictures of how the bar looked. I pulled them, and it's significantly different, if you'd like to. I have
Are they
the
the
old
same as
and-
what we have?
No, these are ones I pulled from inspection that happened previously.
And when you say the glass, what do you mean? I mean, it seems like there's a wall there.
Yeah, well, no, well, there's a wall
With-
there, that's for the bar area, but then there's the glass where the cashier is, that was not in the diagram. That was, quite frankly, she forgot, she forgot the entire specificity of the plan she had filed 2.5 years prior. So we're admitting this, but what I want you to understand, because I didn't know this, and I don't go out to all my clients' bars and liquor stores and look at them. So I hear what they say, I look at their pictures, and in this case, these guys, Ms. Canal specifically, picked up this license in early 2022 and then operated on a limited basis so that she could finish the improvements that needed to be done to bring this diagram into real life. So even, and she got a UNO for this, and so the building inspector said, okay, you're good enough to open up. But she still wanted to make the place look like she had envisioned. Now, again, like I say, but there were a couple alterations, which we're admitting are, beyond the rules here.
And is
So-
she willing to remove them?
Yes, we're gonna have, that's gonna be a significant cost, and I'd be happy to discuss that with them and get the board and the inspectors a more formal answer and timeline thereon. As you know, you get 270 days from a transfer hearing, you might lose a license. So she was able to get the building permit, the UNO issued, and then she went from limited operations to full-time operations. But during this time, as Inspector Chase said, the place looked like construction was going on, as noted in her February 21, 2023 report. And that's because this work was still getting done. So I do want to show you, she paid $2,500 for a permit for work that was to be done in 2023. So as far as permitting, I don't believe there was any hiding that. Now, as far as, was it on the wall, I mean, was it on the door? I don't know that. Sure, yeah. Thank you, Stace.
Okay.
So there were some 311 calls from a competitor or someone saying, oh, there's alterations being made that are not authorized. Many of those alterations that were being made during the period of 2022 to March of 2023 were in fact authorized alterations. However, as I said, there was extra that was not previously authorized from this board. So she apologized immensely for that, for that lapse of memory on what's on the diagram versus what.
Well, in order to rectify it, would she be willing to put it back the way it's supposed to be in compliance with our staff, our inspectors?
So, I mean, I think the law is going to compel that.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, willing, yes. Yes, the answer is yes to that.
Okay.
So, and then let me just talk about these records, because this is one of the weirder fact patterns I've seen with the liquor board. An employer had been hired by Miss Canal, froze up when you inspector, and I don't know what his deal was. He said he didn't work there, even though he's standing at the cash register. I don't know why he wasn't forthright with her. It could have been either a language barrier, or probably more likely it was, didn't want to get in trouble with the boss and froze up. But, and in fact, that employee was terminated for that bizarre behavior. Neither here nor there. However, the crux of this charge is that no one could produce employee records upon request that evening. For that, again, Ms. Canal offers her apologies. This is sometimes a difficult rule to comply with in our modern times with stalking and identity theft. We don't want to just let anybody, including the guy at the cashier who claims he doesn't work there, have access to employees' home addresses and other employees' social security numbers. So it's often kept under lock and key in the manager's office. The problem is if the manager's not there, then the employee,
Would be nice to tell them.
it sure would. So they fixed that problem, and that there's a manager behind me here who has a key, and all managers will have access to the personnel file at all times, so this situation won't happen again.
We need to have adults on duty who can respond appropriately when
We
inquired.
do, but when you get social security numbers involved,
I
you
understand.
gotta have a little security. So I think
I'm
we
not
struck a
objecting to the
balance.
security. I'm just
Yeah.
saying the way they respond to our people.
Yeah, we struck a balance. With respect to the 4.20 charge, I didn't fully understand the basis of the charge. I didn't think it was clearly articulated, but I think, based on testimony today, I think I understand what the basis of that charge was.
Okay.
Okay, and I think that's so tied to the 3.13 charge.
And do you-
Final one, this is why I'm here, because, and I'll be happy to put on testimony right now, because this is a very serious charge on the 3.01. In fact, it's a charge that probably comes up at this board once a decade. And it can be considered a precursor, a precondition for the issuance or continuation of a license. So if you'll hear me on this, and I've got Ms. Canal's husband here and ready to testify about that conversation. I've already mentioned in cross-examination, Mr. Uprity, the husband and spouse of Srijana Canal, is the real estate owner at the property. Ms. Canal is, in fact, the owner and operator. Ms. Canal doesn't stand behind the cash register, and there's no law that says an owner and operator has to be a cashier. Ms. Canal hires employees. Ms. Canal sets the schedule. Ms. Canal orders alcoholic beverages from the distributors. But I mean, this is almost a 3.01. And again, the way these charges are written up, it give you a violation charge, and then you're left to kind of figure out what exactly is the problem based on the report.
We were left to try to figure out what was going on.
Absolutely. But look, sometimes these investigations are easier. Underage cadet walks out of the bar with booze, open and shut. This one is a little more complicated because I don't know exactly what was said between Mr. Uprity and Inspector Tudhope, but the bottom line is that basically the employee, the guy who said he didn't work there, got on the phone, dialed Ms. Canal, she did not pick up, and then dialed her husband, who did pick up. And then, of course, Mr. Ipperty, wanting to be helpful, and the owner of the building, said, yeah, what can we do for you? How, your liquor board's there. Uh-oh, you know, what's up? That doesn't mean he owns the business. That doesn't mean he controls the business. But I can understand why the inspector would have been confused. I do think it's important for me to introduce the operating agreement, which is not required to be submitted to the liquor board upon a transfer, showing that Srijana Kanal is and always has been the 100% owner of Ipperty LLC.
You can introduce it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do
We'll
that.
receive it in the
I've
record.
got several.
We don't need a lot of
Okay,
copies.
fine. And
Give that to-
here's one that's in better shape and has the articles of organization listing only Ms. Canal. So I really don't think that, I just don't think there's any basis here. There's not enough evidence, other than one cell phone call made as a backup when Ms. Canal doesn't answer to the husband, and the husband's trying to help. And I do think in 2023 that, you know, that she can run this business. She doesn't need her husband's help. Her husband's not a shadow owner. Her husband, as you know, is a licensee for multiple restaurant licenses in this city. So I think it was kind of a misunderstanding. And like I said, I think we've admitted to everything else, but I absolutely do not believe there is a violation of operation and ownership of this
Okay,
establishment.
well, we got a long docket, so let's move along.
Okay.
The ladies behind you wanted to testify. Can you all come forward for just a second? Sure. And your name, please?
My name is Jan Eveland.
Okay, and what did you want to tell us, Ms. Eagle?
I wanted to tell you several things. The first thing is that there was basically the construction of a liquor store inside the bar. That's what that glass wall is about. Another thing is when agent said that she saw blank walls, we have here pictures of what it looked like when it was
I'm going to
purchased.
object.
Well, first of all, let me get, this is dated in January of 2020, right? Mm-hmm. So you say that's what it looked like when it was purchased? Before the
Yeah.
renovation?
1 year before the application was filed for transfer.
Okay, all right.
And you'll see these are not blank walls. You will also see there is no wall between the bar and the liquor store,
Your Honor, it's a violation.
and
I'm
there
gonna have
is
to
a
object.
full
Well, wait a
wall
minute.
now.
So what is the relevance of it since it was so long ago?
The relevance is that this is what it looked like when it was purchased, and when the agent went there in February, there were blank walls.
Right, so they took
there
this
were-
down?
Well, yeah, without a permit for that. And they also constructed a liquor store, and they're operating a liquor store inside of a bar. I was just there the other day, there was no bartender behind the bar, but there were people who had purchased liquor at the liquor store and had gone in and were drinking their liquor. I would also say, we have never seen this woman at all. We have seen Mr. Ipperty many times.
Okay. And is your testimony the same?
It is.
Okay, and your name for the record?
My name is Andrea Mayer.
Okay, thank you, ladies.
Thank you. How often do you frequent the place?
Well, my office is 3 doors down from the place.
Right, but how often are you inside the place?
Not very often. They don't have anything I want to buy. They have things that people who have drinking problems in our community want to
Oh,
buy.
I see. Okay. So, Dave, do you feel, now, you represent what community association? You're the Democratic Central Committee man, right? Aren't you?
No,
I got you
I'm
mixed up.
Action Baybrook,
Okay, very well. Thank you.
community organization.
No problem. Have they reached out to you? Are they trying to be a good neighbor in any way, shape, or form?
In the way that oftentimes happens with businesses who are trying to use your community for something, yes, they have. In a way that has made a substantive improvement to our community, no.
No, I just mean, I'd heard that there was some turkey donation. I mean, there was some kind of turkey drive going on, and they participated, perhaps not to your group, perhaps to another
Mr.
group?
Ipperty, rather than
Miss
his wife.
Connell's husband, yeah.
Mr. Ipperty offered some turkeys, yes.
All right, and do all businesses offer turkeys and financial?
We don't tend to need very many turkeys.
Okay. Not even at Thanksgiving? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
Yeah, just question statement. So the thing here is that my understanding basically is the buck stops with the manager, the owner, the licensee.
When you can get her on
Buck
the
stops
phone,
with her,
yeah.
yeah. And so for clarification, the construction with regards to the wall for the liquor store. Is that being taken down? Because there was so much talking. Is it going back to what it was to this?
Yeah,
back in
I
2020?
literally would need, like Pete Previous style, a few minutes to speak with Ms. Canal. I mean, I don't want to speak on the record about this, but it's apparent that we're going to have to make some modifications here. So
Okay.
I don't want to speak on her behalf, and then she can't deliver as fast and as I say she can.
So
That's
does
that
she,
simple.
okay, thank you. So she understands regards to the records that the people that work for her, there's going to be a record there, so she understands that's going to change.
That's an easy fix, yes. That's a lot easier than tearing down walls. So that problem's already been ameliorated. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
One second. No questions.
Okay. All right, thank you, everybody.
Need this.
On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, proffer from council, including the 2 admissions, testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 4.18, small a, alterations on September 21, 2023. Find a violation of Rule 3.03, small c, employee records on September 21, 2023. Find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, prohibited activities, on September 21, 2023. And I'm not sure that we shouldn't have charged cooperation rather than what we charged on 3.01. So, but I want to talk about that in a minute. But I'll dismiss the final violation because I do think there is an owner and operator of the premises. This licensee has no prior record of violations, but this was a bad day for the place. I would impose $250 fines as to the first 2 violations and give her 30 days to pay. As to the violation of 4.20 small c, I'm going to order, this would be my intention, to order that within a period of 45 days that the place be restored to a standard BD7 operating facility under the supervision of our inspectors, so that we are approving it, the alterations that it's placed back in operation the way it's supposed to be. And as I said, I'm going to dismiss the final violation.
And Your Honor, in lieu of a fine on the 4.20C, we will also submit to you an invoice for the payment that Ms. Canal is going to have to incur as a result of that.
What?
So, I mean, I do think, so I think there is.
You think I'm paying for it?
No. I'm going to send you a receipt, Your Honor.
Okay.
I won't send you the bill.
Okay. All right. That's my view. Commissioners?
Yeah, so for clarity, violation 4 is being dismissed, and violation 3, Rule 4.20, there's no fine, but you want a 45-day restored, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And given my COVID hangover argument in many of my cases, I would request the redress or request the ability to keep in touch with this board and let you know and the inspections divisions know if there is any delays.
I understand. If there's a
that are
delay,
beyond their control.
we will be reasonable, but I don't want this going on for months
No.
and months. I want it done.
So, can I go for it now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, based on,
I'm sorry, Commissioner Reisinger, did you rule on everything? Did Commissioner Reisinger, I don't recall if you.
Agreement with it?
If you
Yes,
ruled.
I agree.
Okay.
yeah, and based on the arguments given, the charging documents, submissions made, testimony given, the proffer, I too agree with the violation on the admission of Rule 4.18A alterations on September 21st, 2023. $250 fine, 30 days of pay, violation of Rule 3.03C records on September 21st, 2003, $250 fine. On Rule 4.20C, the permitted acts by license, on that one, 45 days to restore to the standard BD7 condition done in conjunction with our inspectors, no fine. And on the last one, the violation of Rule 3.01, it's dismissal because of your great argument.
I just want to add one thing. As to, we dismissed the final violation, but if our inspectors show up at your premises again and they play games with them, I'll pull the license as fast as you can imagine.
Okay.
And the rule is very clear, though, that whenever you do any alteration, that you have to notify, get approval for alterations, and see, I mean, I think your counsel's going to help you with that.
Yeah, and it's usually a pretty simplified experience with the liquor board. You write a letter, you send in your diagram, you invite an inspector to come out, and 9 times out of 10, it's approved. There's no hearing on that. It never even reaches you all because as long as there's communication, it works out.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
Let's hope we can get this resolved. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, inspectors.
Ms.
Appreciate
Russell?
it.
I need to vote.
You
Thank
already
you.
did.
Oh, okay.
Item closes business for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Ted Hope. 2, hearing docket dated 3/25/21. 3, BLLC, routine inspection, Agent Chase. 4, service request summary dated 9/19/23. 5, letter of opposition from Action Baybrook dated 11/7/23. 6, photos. 7, construction and building permit. And 8, management agreement.
Thank you. See you next week. Thanks again.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council is receiving instructions on how to pay the fines imposed today, and staff will be in contact from the inspections division on how to effect the 45-day to correct the alterations of the BD7 standard as ordered by the board. And lastly, Agent Chase, I apologize. My brain turns you into Delegate Terry Hill as opposed to Agent Terry Chase. So, yeah, Howard County Delegate.
All right, let's proceed.
Moving forward then, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
All right. Item number 6 on today's docket, 2300 West Baltimore Street LLC, trading as Club 2300. Premises are located at 2300 West Baltimore Street. Holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and charged with 2 violations of the board rules stemming from the same date, that is October 11, 2023, and that is a violation of Rule 4.20C, prohibitive activities by license class type, Class BD7 licenses, open and operating tavern at all times, and a violation of Rule 3.09, restroom facilities and health regulations.
Good morning, Mr. Hurdle.
Good morning, Abraham Hurdle, on behalf of Ms. Samra and Mr. Singh at 2300 West Baltimore Street, LLC.
Admissions or denounced?
This is similar to the Pennsylvania Avenue. We are admitting, I do have probably a little longer proffer. I knew this establishment, if I may start, sorry.
Go ahead.
This establishment has pages of previous history issues. What I think is important to stress is that it's been 3 years roughly since they've had a previous issue. I went through the record as well, and I've actually been helping this establishment for about that 3-year timeline. It appears that they had a contract purchaser in there for about 2 years between about 17 and 19, and they picked up a lot of these violations. There's no question that they are responsible regardless of whether there is a management agreement, a contract purchaser or not. But they did want me to make sure that I mentioned the fact that the significant number of these violations occurred on somebody else was in the store. I want to say it's on someone else's
But the
watch.
most recent one in 20, they had it, and it's the same violation.
And I spoke to them about some of the concerns in terms of how they need to address it, how it needs to be something going forward, and how to fix it going forward. Much like the earlier matter on Pennsylvania Avenue, and we do have some photos that show the current status of the location. There's some pictures of people drinking inside and some liquor and those same people. Ultimately, the place is operated as a tavern, if I may.
These
And we
places
do
always
have-
look so good on the pictures at the hearing. I don't know what they look like when the inspectors go there, but.
I think we should do a field trip someday for a hearing, you know? My client also has a cell phone. She can get a cell phone. She can show you her cell phone where they had a delivery the day of the inspection a couple hours earlier.
I
Again, I'm
believe
not
you. You can
saying,
tell me, I believe you.
I'm not saying that that negates the fact that the place has to be clean and clear. But again, a lot of these taverns, they don't have huge storerooms. And when someone drops off effectively half of a box truck worth of inventory, it's got to go into the store very quickly. They got to get it out of the floor because of this exact issue. Now, it is, of course, very coincidental that they've had deliveries on so many previous occasions when inspectors came by. But in this situation, it does appear that there is certainly an overlap between there being a huge delivery that day. I believe that Inspector Brown, if asked, and I don't want to speak for her, would indicate that these were inventory boxes blocking the hallway to the bathroom, and that there were any number of empty boxes on the bar counter and in the bar area. Doesn't negate the fact that someone has to be able to go back there, but I also don't think that they couldn't go back there to have a drink and/or move a box or two to get to the bathroom. I think it would be a problem if they had a wheelchair in this situation, which I think is important to make sure that they do keep it clean going forward. But they have been making progress. This isn't the same. They had dozens of issues in the past. This is much more concise, and I think it is in keeping with a delivery being the cause of the issue as opposed to an operational deficiency.
Okay. Did you want to add anything?
No.
Okay, commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hurdle. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from council, which includes the admission of the violations, I find a violation of Rule 4.20, small c, prohibited activities on October 11, 2023, and a violation of Rule 3.09, restroom facilities on October 11, 2023. In light of the record here, for which I'm going to hold them accountable, I'd impose a $1,000 fine as to each of those violations and give them 30 days. Commissioners?
Yes. Mr. Chair, based on the materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings of violation of Rule 4.20C, prohibited activities by license type Class BD7 license, open and operating tavern at all times, October 11, 2023, with a $1,000 fine. Also, violation number 2 of Rule 3.09, restroom facilities and health regulations on October 11, 2023, at a fine of $1,000.
Based on the charging documents, the admission made, the proffer made by council, I too find a violation of Rule 4.20C, prohibited activities by license on October 11, 2023, and a violation of 3.09, restroom facilities and health regulations on October 11, 2023. Fine is $1,000 per violation and 30 days to pay.
Ms. Russell?
Like exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Brown. Board Exhibit 2, photos.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
luck,
Commissioner.
counsel.
Maybe excuse?
That concludes this matter before the board. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 7 on the violations docket, New Club Thunderbird Incorporated, trading as Club Thunderbird. Premises is located at 2201 East Chase Street. Holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, charged with 2 violations of the board's rules stemming from September the 8th, 2023. That is a violation of Rule 4.05A, prohibitive hours, and a violation of Rule 3.01, ownership and operation.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensees, and with me here today is Ms. Radnaya Williams, the contract purchaser applicant.
Okay. Admission or denial?
It is an admission as to the facts with regard to the 10 o'clock closing. It is an admission with an explanation as to the, I got the wrong thing out. As to the
3.01 violation?
3.01.
Okay.
So on the prior, should I make the proper?
Yes.
Okay. So on the prior case that we had here this morning is another establishment that is in this same area, which is Janae's, and this is the Thunderbird. It is subject to the same restriction of a 10 o'clock closing. That license is a Class D license. This license is a Class BD7 license, but the law went into effect to apply to both types of licenses. It requires a 10 o'clock closing. 2 years ago, the legislature attempted to enact a 10 o'clock closure for the block, and as a result, as I said previously, as a result of lobbying and a lot of publicity on television, they came up with 12-2009 that the 10 o'clock closure would be basically abated if the establishment submitted a security plan that was approved by the liquor board and by the police department. There is this area There is the other area in Benelux Street that you also heard today. There are a couple other areas in Park Heights and Liberty Road where the legislature has arbitrarily placed 10 o'clock closings on certain neighborhoods. And we are arguing that based on equal protection and substantive due process, that it is absolutely irrational and without any distinction that the place on the block with a Class BD7 license can have a security plan and remain open till 2, and these establishments cannot.
So let me ask you a question. I understand your argument there. So we previously dismissed violations with the understanding that this license was going to transfer. And
Okay,
it didn't
yeah.
transfer.
Here-
And it's still operating the way it was. So what's
If
going
I
on?
can just bring you up to date on that. So we had filed the transfer application that was approved. There's also the transfer of the ownership of the building, and I ordered the lien sheet, and the lien sheet had 18 pages of attachments to it. Ms. Williams had taken care of what she thought was everything, but it turned out there were two items that had not, that kind of slipped through the cracks. So I had to reorder a lien sheet, and we did not finish all the paperwork with the transfer of the license, although we've done settlement and we've completed
When will
everything.
she be able to operate this place?
So what my plan is to refile that transfer application, because the time had expired on it, and refile it, but all the paperwork is done and it's ready to, once there's a hearing, we can open
Well,
back
who's
up.
running it now? Mr. Player?
Ms. Williams is.
Oh.
We have the contract, we did the settlement.
But
We
she's not
just
running
missed
it
the
any
deadline.
differently than before. It's still open after hours.
I-
Okay.
She's going to explain in mitigation that it was a few minutes over and it wasn't a blatant trying to stay open till 2 o'clock.
People still in there.
Have you been sworn in?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just raise your right hand, please.
You swear or affirm that the penalty of perjury, the testimony about to give will be the truth.
Yes.
Okay, can you come up to the microphone, please? And your name again, please.
Brania Williams,
Good morning. So-
Good morning.
Good afternoon, I think it is.
Anthony.
So what did you want to tell us about September the 8th?
We were in the process of closing when they came through the door. It was still two ladies that was refusing to basically throw away their drink unless they would be reimbursed for their drink. The doors was already locked. No one else was in there, but the people who worked there, and there was two ladies that were leaving.
Is that
So,
accurate?
The package goods door was open. We had to knock to get to the tavern part, and when we got in there, I believe Inspector Jordan can testify, she saw people paying for their drinks when we arrived.
From what I recall, there was probably about 5, maybe a
Yes,
handful of people that were still there consuming alcohol.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Previs?
No, Mr. Chairman.
How about on the other rule? Are you okay with just an admission on that?
It's the hours and
The ownership and operation?
the ownership. I'm sorry, I've explained where we are. We should be able to finish that by the end of the year.
Okay, commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
All right. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, including the admissions of the violations and the testimony received, find a violation of Rule 4.05, small a, prohibited hours on September 8, 2023, and a violation of Rule 3.01, ownership and operation on September 8, 2023. In light of what we've done in the past, which didn't seem to work, I think we have to be more severe. I would suspend this license for a period of 7 days to see if we can get more compliance. And if we don't, it's probably going to be revoked. Commissioners?
Yes, based on the materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings, a violation of Rule 4.05A, prohibited hours on September the 8th, 2023, in violation of Rule 3.01, ownership and operation, September 8th, 2003, and to suspend the license for 7 days.
Based on the charging documents, admission made to both of the violations today, testimony given, and the proffer made by counsel, I too find the violation as admitted to Rule 4.05A and that is the prohibited hours on September 8th, 2023, and the Rule 3.01, ownership and operation on September 8th, 2023. And I'll implement also the 7-day suspension of the license. And hopefully, after this, you won't have any more issues after the transfer is all the way in your name.
And the suspension will be effective today. Ms. Russell?
Like all exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Inspector Ted Hope.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That concludes this matter before the board. Inspections Division is instructed to poster the licensee suspended effective today for a period of 7 days in accordance with the board's rule. Shall I move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 8 on the violations docket, Castle Seafood Incorporated, trading as Castle Seafood. Premises is located at 3720 Potee Street. Holders of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license in charge with several violations of the board's rules stemming from incidents over 2 different days. First, a violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization on September 3rd, 2023. Second, a violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct for violating BMZA resolution of 24004 for no jukebox or other form of live entertainment on September 3rd, 2023. Violation of Rule 4.18, alterations for an outdoor bar on September 3rd, 2023. Violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct for violating BMZA resolution 240-04 for no outdoor bar on September 3rd, 2023. Violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization on September 30th, 2023. And a violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct for violating BMZA Resolution 240-04, no jukebox or other form of live entertainment on September 30th, 2023. And Inspectors Washington, Brown, and Chief Inspector Crystal Mollis are up there.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky representing the licensee.
Admissions or denials, Mr. Kadensky?
Well, it's not, it's going to be an admission that what was indicated happened. The question I have is legal arguments with regard to whether or not they apply and to this particular situation when the board had a hearing, and in the interim before that, these happened before the other hearing that you had before. I mean, that's
You're
my,
admitting the facts as alleged?
yeah.
Okay. So you want to make your argument then?
Yeah, the argument is that, and I'll give, I'm sure, the board has, excuse me, the prior hearing that was held, Mr. Reisinger, I'm sorry, indicating that they were before the board on September the 8th. The September 3rd violations had occurred prior to the September 8th, in which the board found certain violations that had to do with the bar and so forth. And in this case here, they should have been folded into but they were not. Since that time, the bar has been removed. If you see in the second set of charges there is no bar there. I got pictures to show the bar, and it was removed because this is date time generated on September the 16th. Excuse me.
These documents will be received.
And sometimes a misnomer, but I'm not going to make it, try to make a foolish argument that the BMZA hearing they are allowed to have live entertainment. The question is on the outdoors is the problem, having the outdoor with the DJ. I think it's the kind of case where we talk with the licensee, and he, at this point here, is of the impression and knows that the bar, if you were charged in the September 9th with no alterations and have an outdoor bar, and it already exists on September 3rd, it's the same violation over again, but it's now been removed. So there's no outdoor bar, and he understands that there will not be any type of DJ or any type of entertainment outside pending any type of approval from the BMZ. Just interestingly, for probably nobody here, I don't see anybody except for myself, I did the BMZA hearing. That was, my resolution in the case. I think Mr. Reisinger might have been involved on with the garden thing. But in that situation, the two arguments are, one, the September 3rd was after your September 8th hearing, and based on the September 8th hearing, the bar was removed, so you're doing a double alteration at the same time when the alteration existed on the September 8th argument as it did on the September 3rd. So I think it's somewhat of a bit of a double jeopardy in this case, or double punishment is probably the best way to say it.
Did we order the bar removed at that time?
See, yeah, and I'm going to say this. I hate to throw a blank on us. The board doesn't have authority to do that. There's a case called the Turf Inn case.
Well, I mean, we may not have the authority to order something like that, but he doesn't have the authority to have it.
No, but he did do it.
Yeah.
He took it right
So
after.
we can tell him to stop.
Yeah, and that's true.
It's the same as telling him to.
Well, you gotta, if you read that Turf Inn case, it's really interesting. Actually, Turf Inn is where my daughter has high tops now in New York Road, so I'm familiar with the case. But in the meantime, he did take it down September the 16th. He remedied the situation. And I have some other things in mitigation. You want me to give them to you now, or?
I have a couple of questions for you. So is this seafood restaurant in operation?
Yeah.
Because, well, let me hear from our people, because I'm not hearing that. Chief, do you want to testify, or should we ask the others first? Go ahead. Oh, you haven't been sworn, okay.
All those here to testify in this case, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
I do.
Okay, well, you want to step up and give us your name, please?
Inspector Kenyatta Washington, and the restaurant was in full operation when I went there for my
On September 3?
Yes.
Okay. And other than what's noted in the violations, do you have any other information about the location?
I have nothing else to add, but besides numerous 311 complaints. But when I went, they were very cooperative. They noted the violations, they accepted that what I said, and that was it. But they were cooperative, nonchalant, but cooperative.
Okay. And Chief, did you want to add anything?
Chief Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board. The licensee is always very cooperative when myself or the inspectors or agents go. The issue that we're having is that the licensee, we've exhausted all attempts to try to educate him on what outdoor table service is. Myself and the deputy executive, we had to sit down with him and the other licensee, lengthy sit down to explain the rules and regulations. We then had coordinated with the Mayor's Office of Immigrant and Multicultural Affairs a meeting in Southeast Baltimore where Hispanic bar owners came. He was also present at that meeting. And he's having a very hard time understanding that outdoor table service does not mean you can operate a nightclub outside. It means that patrons have to be seated and served by staff. And they can't be walking around with beer. You can't have a dance floor outside. You can't have DJ outside. And that's where I think the confusion, and I've personally exhausted every attempt I can make to educate this licensee.
But would you agree that they took the bar down?
Sure, I haven't been back, but I don't disagree that that's what you're saying.
And there are tables outside for people to sit down in, and when the people can be served food and beverage out there. Is that correct?
That's what it's intended for.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Well, that's for everybody, not just for him.
That's correct.
Okay, another thought.
So when was the last time you were there?
Last time I was there was, I think it was a violation that I had run for the, actually, I'm sorry, the last time I was there, it was for an assault case where the security assaulted a patient.
When?
That was about a year and a half ago.
Oh.
I don't recall offhand.
Okay. Okay, do you have something else?
Yeah, and what I'm trying to say is that in this case here, I think as that we're getting into this, since the bar has been removed and has the information, he has been involved in a lot of community things there. I don't say that absolves him from any type of violation in the case, but in here, he school year, they had, where's that? Well, I got pictures, might as well show them to you. It's always good to have pictures. I always thought, you know. Through.
It wasn't flyer.
Yeah, through his operation of the place, they gave out to the kids in the neighborhood 400 backpacks for kids to go to school with, supplies and so forth. They had various events outside for kids with bounce, and the things that kids bounce in. I don't have the video, you have the video. And lastly, and most important, I think in this case, because it came up in the other case, they're giving away turkeys for Thanksgiving and for the whole community to come in there. Now, does that please everybody in the community? What they, as I think, as the chief said, is that you're seeing more and more, and I understand that the Latino community now has, bypassed their number 2 in minorities, that you're seeing more of them go into businesses, and they get involved with the multicultural situation with the mayor's office. I think more and more of these things will be resolved in the case here, but when they're community compliant with regard to doing things for the community, took down the bar, and know that they can't have any outdoor music entertainment, although they can have it on the inside. They can have the entertainment on the inside, but not on the outside. And then in your ruling in there, and I asked the chief too, is that it says no jukebox. I don't know if there aren't, that's such a thing or even exists anymore, but I'm not arguing at this point.
I'm sure you own one.
I had one, and it had my name on it, said Melvin's Bar on it.
Yeah. There are community people behind you who want to testify. Come on up.
Hi, Jan Eveland, Action Baybrook, Brooklyn resident and business owner.
Yeah, and we have, by the way, I didn't say this in the last case, but you submitted exhibits which are part of the record, too. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I don't.
Have you seen it?
No.
You're welcome
For
to
one
see it.
reason I never get them.
Well, you're welcome to see it. I didn't mean to withhold them from you. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, we also submitted in the covering email a video showing exactly what happens outside, and this was a video that was made by the licensee, not something we did.
And what's the date of that, do you know?
The date of that video, do I know? September, I believe, but I can't say what date. I can provide that later.
Well, the reason I ask is because these are from September 3, the violations, and I don't know before or after.
These, one page each, these are the outdoor live music advertisements put out by the licensee since August. And I might add, here is one for November 18th. And here is one
Well, it's been, this one, what's the day?
for November 17th.
They're not from this year, then?
Yes, 2023.
Oh, you mean they're for upcoming events?
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
These
the
are
dates of
the
them.
advertisements that he has put out for the event since August.
Do you want to submit those?
Sure.
Probably object to something that didn't happen.
Well, the advertisements have happened.
But if he knows not to do it, he said he was going to do it, you can't then say now he
He
did it.
knew not to do it a long time ago,
Well,
Mr.
Many times. I would also say that, that if we had been able to give more notification to the Baltimore Police Department and to Councilwoman Porter, both of them would have been here to testify.
I wouldn't object to that. It's a supposition, I mean,
I-
every
you
place
know
to
that-
dump, it's an overkill.
I know what is fact and what is supposition.
I mean, I don't like, people just like to talk. That's-
I understand.
So you're saying this is for outdoor,
Well, you can read what it said. Most of them
They say for
advertise
parties.
500 people at an event.
it looks like just for parties.
Yeah, at this property, yes.
Okay, thank you. Did your friend want to testify in this case?
Hi. Well, I am.
Your name, please.
I'm Andrea Mayer.
Yes.
Nice to see you again.
You too.
So, what is the capacity for this establishment? How many people? I'm sorry, what is it? Do you know how many people that this can?
Are you asking questions?
Well, the thing is that they've been advertising that this building can hold 500 people for events. And the latest one was October 13th of 2023. And I'm just curious about how many people can actually be inside a building at one time. I don't think that building can sustain 500 people. It just feels like he continues
I
to.
object to something that we're not even here for. I'm trying, you know.
Well, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. That's,
October
We're here to hear
13th is not
testimony.
within what we're talking about here. And the capacity is not what we're talking about. There's no fire department, people saying there was overcrowding. I don't know if any people have ever been there for any event.
We also submitted pictures of an event that was in the parking lot that was unfortunately during the daytime and the inspectors were not here, which BPD cleared the parking lot, and that was after the licensee had notification of both of these sets of violations, plus I believe there were 2 prior sets of violations that were heard by this board.
Did you have anything else?
Sir, step up here. You might as well defend yourself, and they throw little rocks on top. You get up here. State your name and address for the record.
Yeah, 3720 Porter Street.
You're the licensee there?
Yes.
All right, now.
I'm sorry, he didn't state his name for the record.
Jason Acevedo.
All right, now, with regard to what the allegations are being made here, you did remove the bar, is that correct?
Yes.
And these events that you're having for the kids and for the turkeys, that's all on the inside, is that correct?
Yeah, yes, I was inside the patio.
All right, and then along with that, you've had events out there for children with bounce?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and you can do that, unless you, are the kids live when they're bouncing?
Yeah, it was having fun.
All right, but it was for kids?
Yeah, yes, for good. I don't know how no at all was selling no liquor or nothing like that. It just was juice, soda, stuff like that.
And then along with that, the events of that, you ever see any of these 2 people here as being, come in your place as
Never.
customers? Never?
Never.
Okay. Well, indicating for the record, a laugh.
So let me ask you a question, sir. Tomorrow night, Friday night, how many people will be in your place?
I don't want to say how many.
On a typical
Probably
Friday night?
200, maybe
200.
250.
And how many will be outside?
Nobody. It's closed right now outside because of cold.
So how long has it been closed?
Actually, the last hearing I got here, I guess the 1 week like slow, and that be it. That was the last.
So you haven't had anybody outside since the end of September?
Yeah, this I don't remember, but this was last time she went down there.
Do you remember when the last time you went down there?
September 30th.
Okay,
Yeah, that was the
Wait.
last time I was operating outside.
okay. Have you been back?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So you have 200 people a night indoors being seated at a restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's not every night.
No, not every no.
Weekends, I'm talking
not every night.
And, okay, and what is your fire department capacity?
426.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
Yeah, real quick. Appreciate what your client's done for kids, but still kind of irrelevant what we're here for today, as you said earlier. I know that the chief said that he tried to talk to the licensee. He didn't understand, but he does understand now. And if he does, what happened with that, if I may? I'm going into the weeds, but.
No, he said he doesn't understand.
When we leave, he understands, but the activity continues. We were able to stop one party that he had advertised, which I don't want to get into the legality of it because I personally don't know if it was legal, but it was advertising marijuana with a table, 5 grams or something. So we called, we talked to him, and he stopped that party. He didn't have that party. In October during the Fells Point Festival, that this lady, I'm sorry, ma'am, I forgot your name, testified to, we were working, but we could not get out of the Fells Point area because all the streets were closed down and we were designated to the Fells Point Festival. I did get a phone call from BPD Southern District that said that there was a large party that they shut down that was taking place in the parking lot. So I don't have any issues with the licensee besides his outdoor activities. If he can stop the outdoor activities, I think he will be fine.
Counselor, does your client understand that having a liquor license is a privilege right now?
He understands that, and he understands that the zoning for the outdoor table service has to do with the restaurant in the case. So he has to, at all times, besides operating, has to make sure there's food service on the outside, which there's, so far, nobody's disputed that he doesn't run a restaurant there. Seems like that there's one of the, I guess for one of the better places, it's a it's a happy place for people that culture to go to. Now, at this point here, he's closed all that down. He's taken the bar down. He's made strides, and he would agree to meet with anybody at any time to try to resolve any other open issues on it.
Well, it's after the fact now, but, I mean, I'm just speaking on my behalf, is that I don't believe or think that your client has any respect for the community, for the zoning board, for the liquor board, because of the back violations. And, you know, I think it's a privilege, and I think he's got to get it straightened out. You know, he got off lightly last time, so, you know, waiting for the findings of the chair.
Yeah.
But go ahead, I'm sorry.
But, you know, one of my pet peeves is when you say the community. His people are part of the community also, so you can't say because a group does not represent the whole community. And I think that if his group is mainly Latino, Hispanic, they are part of the community also. So it's not disrespectful to them or to the BMZA. It's a question of, you know, satisfying, you know, one group versus another, where one group obviously don't go in the place, don't have anything to do. I understand what you're saying, and he understands that the group that he represents that are in that area, that are come in and get the backpacks and the turkeys and all that, you know, certainly have, you know, the right to be, you know, be given whatever respect they could get also.
There's a difference between the community association and also his clientele that comes in for entertainment. So I think there's a difference.
Yeah,
Apples
and
and oranges.
We have a petition signed. We went door to door within 3 blocks of his establishment. We have a petition signed by residents, many of whom are Spanish speaking, that they do not appreciate the late night music, the traffic, the people parking on their front yards, and they want him closed down.
Okay. Do you have any questions? You got to move on.
I don't have any
other cases. Go ahead, Inspector, quickly.
Just to be clear, when they say they took the bar down, it's a mobile bar. So even though it was taken down after the 3rd, and they say they took it down on the 16th, but they wheeled it back out, and it was set back up on the 30th when our other inspector went out. So at any time, the bill, it can be taken back out.
All right, do you have anything else? Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from counsel, which included admission of the violations, and all the testimony received, I find violation of Rule 4.14, small a, live entertainment without authorization on September 3, a violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct on September 3, 2023, violation of Rule 4.18, alterations, outdoor bar on September 3, 2023, a violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, no outdoor bar, September 3, 2023, a violation of Rule 4.14, small a, live entertainment without authorization on September 30, 2023, and a violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, no jukebox or other form of live entertainment, September 30, 2023. In light of the history with this licensee and in light of the testimony received, I would propose to defer disposition on these violations for 1 week until our hearing next week, and I'd like to ask my inspection staff to monitor it because I want a full report on what's going on at this facility on a nightly basis. Commissioners?
Yeah. Yes. Based on materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I agree with the chair's findings to defer a hearing until the next hearing. Right?
You just disposition you're talking about.
Disposition to, based on the charging documents, admissions made, the proffer made by the council, and all the testimony given. Also find that there has been a violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization, September 3rd, 2023. Violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct on September 3rd, 2023. Violation of Rule 4.18, violation of outdoor bar, September 3rd, 2003. Violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct by no outside bar, September 3rd, 2023. Violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization, September 30th, 2023. And a violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, no jukebox rule, and other form of live entertainment on September 30th, 2003. And according to our chair, deferred disposition for 1 week And I just hope that your client understands the severity of what's going on.
The client to be back here, you want to do that
Yes.
first or last, or I'm not?
We can do it first, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do we have a violation docket or?
We will if you add this.
Whatever's convenient, council, just let Nick know.
Well, I'm going to be here for a bunch of them anyhow.
Okay.
So,
Can I ask one question, please? Were you, the establishment was closed last Friday by Health Department. Have you reopened since then?
Yeah, but I have to finish today, reading the paper on that.
So they cleared, they gave you the, okay. I just wanted to make sure that they're open while we're
I
monitoring.
didn't impose too much on you, did I?
No.
and
All right.
and Mr. Chair, if
You have a number to get a hold of him?
I have every number possible.
When you going to come down?
I'm going to let them know beforehand.
Perfect.
Mr. Chair, if I may clarify for the record,
He's closed, there's nothing to see.
since Commissioner Reisinger is not an attorney like many people up here, so what legally happened when the other two commissioners voted is they voted to find the violations on the dates that occurred, and then they deferred disposition for any potential penalty for a week. So I think our appeals counsel would like it if you could make a ruling on the individual charges as to whether you think the violation occurred, and then,
On each violation?
yes, please.
Okay. Okay, let me go back. Okay, on violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization on September the 3rd, 2023. Violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, violating BMJ Resolution 240-04, no jukebox or other form of live entertainment on September the 3rd. Violation of Rule 4.18, alterations on outdoor bar on September the 3rd, 2023. Violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, violating BMJ Resolution 240.04, no outdoor bar on September the 3rd. Violation of Rule 4.14A, live entertainment without authorization, September the 30th, 2023. And violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct, violating BMJ Resolution 240-04, no jukebox or other form of live entertainment on September 30th, 2023. Is that good?
Yep, and you found all of those violations have occurred and agree with the chair that we should withhold disposition until next week?
Yes, I agree with the chair to hold till next week.
Thank you.
Could you clarify, please, for the community what that means?
I haven't ruled on what the sanction will be. We find him in violation, but I want to find out what's going on before I impose the sanction.
So legal.
Next
You're
week.
welcome to. You don't have to. I'm not ordering it.
We'd love to.
Okay.
Yep, so and per the chairman and the commissioner's order, this matter will be scheduled for final disposition on November 16th, 2023 here in room 215 City Hall.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Might call exhibits for the record.
Please.
Board Exhibit 1, Violation Report, Inspector Washington. Board Exhibit 2, Service Request Summary dated 9/2/23. 3, Service Request Summary dated 9/30/23. 4, Service Request Summary dated 9/30/23. 5, Letter of Opposition from Action Baybrook. Like to see Exhibit Number 1, Database Printout. 2, Photos, and I'm sorry, 1 additional to Board Exhibits Number 6, Flyers.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter until next Thursday before the board. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
Item number 9 on the violations docket, PP&G Incorporated, trading as Norma Jeans. Premises are located at 10 Custom House Avenue, holders of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, and also a Class AE adult entertainment license, charged with several violations of the board's liquor rules and adult entertainment rules, to it a violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibitive hours on September 18th, 2023, a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05, incorporation of liquor license rules and regulations to applicable licensees on September 18th, 2023, violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.01A, adult hours of operation on September 18th, 2023.
Counsel.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Andrew B. Saller, S-A-L-L-E-R, on behalf of Miss Ireland, the licensee.
Will this be an admission or denial?
An admission.
Okay. Do you want to proffer for us?
Yes, Your Honor, you'll see in there that she has not had a violation since she got the license in 1997 that was sustained, Your Honor. She operated the establishment with her husband of 33 years, Peter Ireland. Unfortunately, he passed in the springtime, Your Honor. Her plans are eventually to bequeath it to her son, and he would take over the business, but he is learning quickly and making some mistakes along the same lines. Your Honor, I had him, he went with I apologize every time I speak of him, Mr. Philippidis, Your Honor. He did some additional training with him about, he is certified by Mr. Philippidis for the alcohol awareness, but to go over extensively the rules and regulations, I've met with the chief inspector, and there were a number of establishments open after 2 a.m. He's learned that there's to be no wiggle room with that. Everyone needs to be out by 2 a.m. Under Miss Ireland's tutelage, she never would allow that. If she had been there that night, she's just not there every evening.
What's your son's name?
Tristan Herman.
Okay. Chief, what's going on?
So I'll just read my report. Chief Chris Amalis, Baltimore City Liquor Board. On September 18, 2023, at approximately 2:20 hours while on
Well,
duty.
I don't really, they're admitting that.
Okay.
So I just, have you met with the son?
I met with the son this week with the presence of his counselor. We had a long conversation. He is aware of the mistakes he made. He is very young, and I think he's trying to learn the business. I explained to him that many more violations of any kind, especially on the block, could result in taking of the license by the board at some point. He's very aware. He did ask a lot of questions on how to improve his practice. We exchanged numbers. He said, I advised him to call me ahead of time if he's planning on doing something before he does it, just so he can clear to make sure that it's within the rules and regulations. We haven't had any other problems there since Mr. Ireland passed. We talked about security issues because that was a concern that's not on this violation, but it was a concern. And with the help of his attorney, I think they're trying to straighten out some new companies and so forth.
So is there an older person who can mentor him for a while until he knows what he's doing?
To my right, Your Honor, Miss Ireland's been doing this a long
It's just
time.
25 years without a bad record, and, it's a shame. You haven't been sworn, though, have you? And we were swear.
Swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? Yes, thank you.
It's a shame, and I'm sorry that you lost your husband. But I don't know your son, but he's not the only 19-year-old who doesn't know what he's doing. So he needs help. So if you can do it, that's fine. But we're going to have to impose a sanction today, and I would suggest you take it out of his pocket. Maybe he'll learn something from it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else, Chief?
That's all.
Commissioners?
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents and the proffer from counsel, including the admissions and any testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 4.05, small b, prohibited hours on September 18, 2023, violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05 on September 18, 2023, which incorporates our liquor license rules, and a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.01, small a, hours of operation on September 18, 2023. Because these are the first violations in such a long time, I would impose a $200 fine as to each one and give him 30 days to pay and recommend to his mom that it come out of his pay, but I can't enforce that.
Okay. Mr. Chair, based on the materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I agree with the chair's findings of violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours on September 18, 2023, and a fine of $200. Also, violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05, incorporation of liquor license rules and regulations to applicable licensee on September 18, 2023, and a fine of $200. And also the violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.01A, hours of operation on September the 18th, 2003, and a fine of $200.
Based on the charging documents, admission made, testimony given, and the proffer made by counsel, I also find a violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours on September 18, 2023, violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05, incorporation of liquor license rules and regulations to applicable licenses on September 18, 2023, in violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.01A, hours of operation, impose a $200 fine on each of the violations and 30 days pay.
Ms. Russell?
Mike Husabin, for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Chief Inspector Chris Amalis. 2, Baltimore City Police Department Incident Report, Officer Matthew. And licensee Exhibit 1, alcohol awareness certification.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counsel.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate your help.
That concludes this matter before the board. Council's receiving instructions on how to pay the violations, fines imposed by the board, and any attendant fees that go along with it. Shall we move forward, Mr. Chair?
Please.
And the last violation matter on today's docket, Tisha Powell, sole proprietorship, trading as Pole Play Lounge. Premises are located at 417 East Baltimore Street. Holders of both a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license and also a Class AE adult entertainment license, charged with several violations of the board's alcohol rules and adult entertainment rules, to wit, a violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibitive hours, violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05, incorporation of liquor license rules and regulations to applicable licensees, and a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.01A, hours of operation. All of these incidents are alleged to have occurred on September 15th, 2023.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensee. To my right is Ms. Tisha Powell, the licensee, and to my far right is Ms. Tiara McCoy, who is the manager on duty on the night of vacation.
Would they be admitting or denying?
This will be an admission, and note for the board that all three charges are the same thing after hours. One for liquor, one for adult violating liquor. If I can, Ms. McCoy can gladly answer any questions that the board may have, but if I can begin with a proffer of an explanation.
Go ahead.
Of what she's explained to me that happened. So this was a Thursday night going into a Friday morning. There was a birthday party for a friend of Ms. McCoy's, a gentleman named Robbie that owns a business called Off-Tour Boutique on 25th Street. And there was a party that he had at the garage, another catering location, not at this establishment. They had put out a flyer for an after party. So this was a 90s Jay-Z themed birthday party to look like 90s gangsters. And the after party was to be after the garage event closed at midnight. So it wasn't intended to be a party that started after 2. The problem is that when the people went down there, she couldn't get them out of there. And what Mr. Chris Amalis observed is absolutely true. There were people in there, and it turned into, you should never start something that close to closing time because you're not going to be able to handle it and get it under control. They've been there for approximately 3 years, maybe a little more, without incident, without violation. This is their first violation. I totally understand that you can't have anything going on after 2 o'clock other than people cleaning the floors and getting out of there, no patrons, and promise that this will not happen again. They want to emphasize that even though there's some material in the packet that this was a gang thing, it was a
They were dressed as gang.
Party. I remember back in the old days when we'd have liquor board hearings down on Tapsco Avenue, Commissioner Reisinger, and somebody'd have a Yankees hat on, and they say, they're in the Bloods, or they're in the Crips, they're in the Crips. I was like, no, they're a Yankees fan, that's even worse.
How to get into this?
Anyway.
Chief, did you have anything to add?
I don't know if Sergeant Powell is also here. He was with us that night of the violation.
Sergeant, welcome. Raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear or affirm in the penalties of perjury that testimony about to give is the truth?
I do.
Could you step up to the microphone, Sergeant?
Sergeant Matthew Powell, Baltimore City Police Department.
Do you want to add anything?
No, sir.
Otherwise, you had no problems?
No, I've been there about a year now in the Central District. That's the first and only problem I've had with them that I've been
Okay.
part of.
Appreciate your being here and staying through all this, but that's helpful. Commissioners have any questions?
I have no questions.
No question.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, the proffer from council, which includes the admissions of the violations and any testimony received, I find a violation of Rule 4.05, small b, prohibited hours on September 15, 2023, a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05 on the same date, which incorporates our other rules, and a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.01, small a, hours of operation on September 15, 2023. I have no history of prior violations, and to be fair, given the last case, I would impose $200 fines as to each of these violations and give them 30 days to pay.
Yes. Mr. Chair, based on the materials and proffer from the attorney provided today, I also agree with the chair's findings of violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours September the 15th, 2023, and a fine of $200. Violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05, incorporation of liquor license rules and regulations to applicable licensees September the 15th, 2023, with a fine of $200. Also, violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.01A, hours of operation September the 15th, 2003, and a fine of $200.
Based on the charging documents, testimony given today, the proffer made by counsel, and admission of all of the violations, violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours on September 15th, violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.05, September 15, 2023, and a violation of Adult Entertainment Rule 3.01A, hours of operation on September 15, 2023. I do find that all three of those were violated, and implement a $200 fine on all three with 30 days to pay. Good luck.
Ms. Russell?
I close up for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report, Chief Inspector Chris Miles.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Blendy, is that our docket for today?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that concludes this matter before the board, and council's received instructions on how to pay the fines imposed by the board, and that concludes all matters before the board today, Mr. Chair.
All right, well, thank you, as always, to the commissioners and staff of the Liquor Board for your participation today, and we'll see you 1 week from today.
Thank
The
you.
Board of Liquor License Commissioners stands in recess until Thursday, November the 16th, 2023, 10:30 a.m. here in room 215, City Hall, Baltimore, Maryland, 100 North Holiday Street, 21202.